You understand the business reality. Business reality is really messy, like low sales. From that, you come up, you do a root cause analysis, cost and effect analysis, like fishbone diagram, 5 why analysis, etc. You get to know what are the causes. Maybe these are the three causes that you highlighted based on your analysis. From that, you come up with decision problem statements such as, should new product be introduced because the root cause is that product line is obsolete? Should advertising campaign be changed because the root cause is customer connect is ineffective? Should the product prices be changed? Should the product prices be changed because product pricing is uncompetitive? For each of these, you come up with research objectives. Should new product be introduced? Then for that, you have to use a verb and object. Verb is you want to determine. What do you want to determine? Consumer preferences and purchase intentions. So this is your object. Then what do you want to do research on? I want to determine. What do you want to determine? Effectiveness of current advertising campaign. So determine is verb. This is your object. Should product prices be changed? So you want to do a research, determine what? The price elasticity of demand and impact, right? Once this is done, you come up with constructs, right? Say, all these are examples of an educational institute. So for training enrollment, you think about aspects, right? You're coming up with a construct. Construct is training enrollment. For that, you're coming up with aspects. You want to do a research. From research, you come up with a construct. For construct, you come up with aspects. You thought about, say, time aspect, strength aspect, and constraint aspect. For each of these aspects, you come up with a survey questionnaire now, such as, I am most likely to enroll for the training program in. Which aspect is this addressing? Time aspect. How sure are you about enrolling for this program? That is strength aspect, right? And the one thing that most stops you from enrolling for the program, that's constraint aspect. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to ask questions, right? So aspects are usually one-dimensional. Aspects are usually one-dimensional. When you add responses of all these one-dimensional, you get responses to decision problems or research objectives, which are usually multidimensional. So from multidimensional, multiple aspects will be there, right, for a problem. So that's multidimensional. And then you're breaking it down into one-dimensional. And then for each one-dimensional aspect, you're asking a question. When you add those questions together, or the responses to all these three aspects, you'll get response to this construct. When you have response to multiple constructs, you'll have response to research objective and thereby the decision problem. Okay, this is data collection with respect to survey. Then there is also data collection with respect to performing experiments. For example, what will be the effect of fertilizer A, B, C on the yield of the crop? Say you want to compare that. You cannot ideally say, let me try fertilizer A for 6 months. For the next 6 months, let me try fertilizer B. And for the next 6 months, let me try fertilizer C. It'll be costly. You need to wait for 1.5 years, or even if you do parallelly 6 months, right? Scientists experimenting this also consider soil types. clay soil, silt, sandy soil. Now, clay soil, fertilizer A, B, C on that. Silt soil, fertilizer A, B, C on that. Sandy soil, fertilizer A, B, C on that. Now you compare the fertilizer effects based on soil type. Very tough, right? And for each soil type, the scientist chooses 5 representative equal sized plots. So 5 different plots, all these soil types, all these fertilizers. Oh my God, right? Very tough, right? Then the scientist assigns each fertilizer to each of the equally sized plot randomly. That's very important. Randomly you need to assign. And then you do design of experiment. Okay, and then observe and then do the data and then capture the data. Very tough, very costly. I mean, it's not something that this way of collecting the data is very costly, obviously. Look at this. Data collection using design of experiments, coupon marketing. 10% versus 20%. Which discount will customers better respond to? If I have those coupons with expiry dates, it will expire in the next 2 days versus 10 days. Which will actually motivate customers to purchase? How about distance? I have 10% discount, which will expire in 2 days. I'm doing that in the radius of 2 kilometers. All the customers in the radius of 2 kilometers can see this, assume, or 5 kilometers. 10%, 2 days, 10 kilometers. How does it impact? What if you use combinations? What do you mean by combinations? 20%, 2 days, 10 kilometers. Will it be more effective than 10%, 2 days, 5 kilometers? Wow. Right? 10% discount, 2 kilometers, or 12% discount, 3 kilometers. Which one should I use? Data, data, and data. You need data, right? So, what are the factors which impact? Right? If you're thinking, I mean, many things are related to this, right? If you're Zomato or Swiggy or one of those companies, then should you send that coupon of 10%, this coupon of 10%, which will expire in 2 days, in 5 kilometers radius, for a non-veg or veg? Or should you target it for cuisine, Mediterranean or Western or whatever, be it, or Chinese, right? And should you target those on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, or on weekdays or weekends? And at what time of the day? You will just go mad, right? I mean, it's too taxing to even think that you have to conduct experiments with all these combinations. That is when your design of experiment will come in handy. You do a trial, you do an experiment. And this is a research article from one of the management magazines. It was very simple, right? Temporal targeting, meaning they looked at the average responses if they send coupon, and if they say that claim it on the same day, response was very high. Many people started claiming. 2 days was less. It is pretty intuitive. And then they looked at whether the people who are far will redeem more coupons, or people who are near to your shop will claim more coupons. Near, of course, they claim more on an average. But when you combine, things become interesting. Look at people who are far. People who are far would not prefer 2 days. I mean, if the coupon is going to expire in 2 days or on the same day, but rather they prefer something which will expire in 1 day. Oh, I see. People who are near you and medium on the same day. But if you look at this, either give same day or give 2 day prior. I mean, coupon will expire in 2 days. because in between 1 day and 2 day, people are preferring 2 day. If you have only these two options, very interesting. We assume that if it's same day, good, otherwise next 1 day, but it's next preference is given to 2 days, and that is there as part of this source. You might want to watch that. So this is how data is collected. Data does not come to you on a platter in an Excel sheet or in a CSV file or in a text format. It doesn't come to you directly like that. All these things have happened in the past, right? Either secondary data source, or these two, survey and DOE, are design of experiment, or primary data sources. Using this, you get the data. And once you get the data, you proceed further with your analysis.